Yo, what is going on? I hope everyone's having a good day so far. I'm hopefully having a good day as well. By the time you're listening to this, I'm going to be actually having surgery, so wish me luck. Obviously, this is recorded before that, so we'll see how that goes. I'm pretty stoked for that. That's so if you're listening to this right now when it comes out, the day that it comes out, which is Thursday, I'm recording this a couple days before, just in preparation for the surgery. Yeah, so let's jump into, I guess, the intro first, and then I'll kind of give a little bit of a summary of what's going on in my life right now, and we'll go from there. So, welcome to the podcast. Obviously, if you've listened to this podcast before, then welcome back to the Risen Fallen podcast. If you're a brand new listener, then what you can expect is conversations about mental health and self-development in an open and honest conversation. A lot of the times I have interviews, so I have people that come by and we have full-length conversations for like an hour or so, maybe sometimes longer, sometimes less time, but I like to have these conversations in ways that I feel like are the most authentic and open, because I feel like that's the most relatable for you guys. This is not one of those episodes. This is going to be a solo episode where I'm just kind of rambling on by myself, and hopefully you guys can get some value out of that, whether it's something entertaining, maybe I make you smile, maybe I make you laugh, or maybe I get to educate you on something, but that is probably not going to happen because you're probably smarter than I am. But yeah. The idea behind Risen Fallen, for those of you that have followed this podcast since it was called Hey Mark, the idea behind Risen Fallen is kind of a long time coming. It's kind of been like a pipe dream for me for years and years and years. I've actually been kind of dreaming about doing something like this since I was like 18 years old, and I'm probably 27. Well, no, I am 27 now, so it's been almost 10 years in the making in terms of thinking about all the different ideas I want to do in terms of having a podcast, the YouTube channel, and then merch that's going to be coming out soon. And, obviously there are bigger dreams to come, which I'm hoping you guys get to stick around for the ride for. Yeah, like I said, merch will be coming soon. Oh, the surgery. So surgery today. Well, in 2 days right now, but like I said, by the time you're listening to this, it's today. I'm getting my septum repaired through basically being a genetic freak, and also being a giant idiot, and kind of abusing my own health and breaking my nose a few times. My septum is basically ground meat. I can't breathe out of my nose. I'm sure if you guys have kind of heard me speak about this before, or heard me breathe into the mic like this, that's how my nose sounds. So hopefully this surgery kind of makes my breathing a lot better. I don't know if you guys have read the book Breath by, I believe it's called Breath, and it's by James Nestor, I think. That's off the top of my head. You guys understand the importance of breathing out of your nose and how much breathing out of your mouth can actually fuck you up. So that's something I'm pretty excited for. Yeah. By now, I think, so today I'm on day 44 being sober. By the time you listen to this, I'll be on day 46. There's a little update on that as well. The merch, some of the ideas for the merch, I've got a couple designs coming out, but I think I'm just going to launch one of them right now. The ideas behind the merch is to kind of unite the people that are in this community. Like the Risen Fallen community stands for essentially the fact that we all fall down in life, but together we rise up. And so I wanted to create a merch line that kind of unites people and kind of helps them understand that, it's okay to talk about these things. In fact, it's actually better to talk about these things than it is not to. And I want to kind of unite everybody that wants to be able to have these conversations by making a merch line that kind of allows people to see that when you see someone else wearing these things, you understand that that's a homie. That's someone that's going to have your back. That's someone that's going to be able to lift you up, lift others up, and then someone that you might want to help lift up in one of their dark times as well. So it's kind of a way to unite all of us, and as well a way for you guys to support the podcast so that I can kind of keep doing these things and maybe do bigger and better things later on. Basically, like I said, yes, kind of support the dream. Yeah, surgery. It's something that I hate getting surgery. I'm pretty sure no one likes getting surgery. I haven't had surgery for a while. I don't know if you guys consider wisdom teeth extractions a surgery, but that's probably the last time I can imagine or remember, having like an anesthetic or having like a surgery like that. So kind of nervous for it, but I'm kind of more nervous just about the recovery and seeing how long that takes. You guys are going to get some funny pictures probably on my Instagram, so that'll be funny. So stay tuned for that. If you look up Risen Fallen on Instagram, you can obviously just laugh at my face right now because it's probably swollen by now. By the time you're watching this, especially by the time the video's dropped, you'll definitely be seeing pictures because that'll be at 5 p.m. I should be coming out of surgery at around 2. So that'll be fun. What else is new? Oh, one of the things I've realized recently, in terms of like having some reflection in my life and having a little bit more time to go over my journal and make some journal entries and be able to have conversations with those that I love, I've started to understand that for the first time in my life, and this isn't the first time I've received this, but it's the first time that I've noticed this, that I've got like unconditional love from some people in my life. And I'm hoping you do as well. But I really had to take note of that this week. That was one of the things that I've been digging deep into with my journal entries. Just in terms of, my girlfriend and my parents and, a couple other select few people in my life, just seeing how much, no matter how much I've fucked up in my life, whether that be recently or whether that be in the past and it's just recently been uncovered or what have you, having people that, no matter what you say, what you do, they're just going to show you love and show you unconditional support. It's really, it's opened my eyes to how grateful I should be and how grateful I could be for what I have in my life. Because looking back at, a lot of addictions that I've had or a lot of different behaviors, maybe negative coping mechanisms that I've had, whether that be, just kind of, whether that's using substances or using video games or using fucking, any type of distraction or escapism from kind of a feeling of unworthiness or loneliness or shame or guilt or what have you. I've come to realize that that's where a lot of my negative coping mechanisms come from. Is this basically it boils down to not having enough self-love. And it's something that I'm still working on. It's something that I'm still trying to figure out. But my eyes were open to this idea because of realizing that there are people that do show me unconditional love in my life. And starting to realize that I probably need to have unconditional love for myself, right? And understanding that, sometimes you just need to forgive yourself for things that have happened in the past. And that's not to say that you can just kind of chalk it up and say, hey, it's all good. Those things weren't mistakes, because there's been other times where I kind of start to play victim and start to say like, hey, we start to rationalize or kind of negotiate with ourselves and say, it's okay for me to have done those things. It's okay for me to have fucked up, or it's okay for me to cope like that, whatever it could be, because of X, Y, and Z. And for me, that's one of the things I've kind of been reviewing recently internally, and understanding that, maybe some of the decisions I've made in the past aren't okay. But that being said, I was just doing the best with what I had at the time. And now that I know better, it's time to kind of correct myself and not do those things anymore. So that's kind of where my week's been. I don't know if you guys have dealt with stuff like that in the past. If you have, reach out to me. Let me know how you overcame it. If you are dealing with it right now, then you can just reach out and understand that you're not alone. I do run a group on Telegram, so if you want to join that, It's also called Risen Fallen. And we have daily conversations on Telegram. We also have weekly Zoom calls where you can kind of have like a weekly recap and chat about how your week went, some of the wins you had, some of the struggles you had. We all kind of are mentors and mentees for each other. So it's a pretty cool community that way. What else is new? There's a couple of weird news stories recently as well. I don't know if you guys want me to share some of the weird things I find in the news or what you think my outlooks are on these types of things, but yeah, I just was kind of scanning the news today, which I don't normally do very often, but there was a couple of articles that kind of caught my mind, or caught my attention, I should say. Just playing around with that. One of them was this weird... I don't even know how this fucking happens, but the title of the article is Montreal man faces life sentence after officials say his drugs killed 4 people in the U.S. And I'll put a link to this in the description of this podcast, or in the fucking show notes or description of the YouTube video. However you're digesting this podcast, I'll put a link to this as well. But basically, this dude in Montreal who was already in jail was importing, or I guess exporting, drugs into the United States, specifically fentanyl, and like the drugs that he was trafficking ended up leading to like 15 overdoses, and 4 of them were fatal. And basically, yeah, this guy pleads guilty to conspiracy to import and distribute fentanyl into the U.S., which obviously, what a fucking piece of shit. And yeah, it looks like he's getting a life sentence, which is pretty appropriate in my eyes. I mean, people that kind of, I think even like street dealers for this kind of shit are murderers in my eyes. And I think it's, interesting, and I think it's important. I think this could honestly be like, this should be like headline news in my eyes, because I think that, we should kind of be prosecuting these types of criminals a lot heavier. I think it'd be cool to, probably even have like fucking death penalties for pieces of shit like this, because as much as you want to claim, like, and look, like this is a mental illness, mental health kind of podcast as well, and you want to maybe claim that these guys are mentally ill. I mean, the people that are dealing these drugs are being criminals. But it's like, man, if you're fucking killing people, you kind of, you shouldn't really be in society anymore. So I guess if we're not going to play around with the death penalty or capital punishment or whatever you want to call it, life sentence is the most appropriate thing. Let's just hope that, this guy doesn't get out early on good behavior or some fucking bullshit like that. It's nice to see criminals actually being prosecuted in Canada, and I think that these things, I said this should be headline news, because I think that this should be broadcast in front of all criminals' faces. They should know that when you fuck around like this, when you're killing people, especially a lot of these times, these are like young adults or teenagers even getting hooked on these drugs, like destroying families. These people are the scum of the earth. So, like I said, pretty stoked that this guy's even getting a life sentence. I think that's the nicest thing we could do for him. In other news, what other news stories came up today? Apparently China's not too happy. Nancy Pelosi is going to Taiwan. Don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's pretty fucking interesting to me. I think they were threatening to launch some missiles or some shit, so that's pretty fucking funny. I think that just kind of shows a lot, I guess. Don't really want to go too much into politics on this episode, but I'll just drop that little bomb on you guys. You can look it up and let me know what you think. This article right here is a little fucking interesting as well. So, COVID-19 vaccination rate lower among urban indigenous people, study shows. And then it asks why. Well, I don't think that the Canadian government has given that group of people very many reasons to trust them. I don't know why they've even phrased it like that, because it's like, what are you trying to do? Separate society even more and start to point the fingers at certain groups? Like, that's kind of fucked up. Another question I have is, why are these people even having to disclose their medical information like that? That's also pretty fucked up. And why would that make the news? It's fucking insane. It says here that basically among this group, there is like 20% less vaccination rates. And I don't know if they're trying to basically pose this as like the vaccines weren't available for them, or for them not to trust the government. Oh no, it actually does. It actually definitely says right here. There's a quote saying, "Am I supposed to be experimented on again? Are we seeing how the vaccine works in us before it's offered to the general population across Canada?" This is a First Nations pharmacist, assistant professor at the University of Toronto, who was not involved in this study specifically, but he's being quoted saying that there's a strong history of experimentation, current policies and practices like forced and coerced sterilization in Indigenous women, and experiences of racist healthcare were likely all contributing factors to kind of the hesitancy that people have had in this community. It's pretty eye-opening, because you see a lot of people being labeled that are like quote-unquote anti-vax, and obviously like a lot of people that support me on Instagram have seen the way that I kind of feel about these types of things, like especially in regards to mandates. Definitely not a fucking fan. In fact, I'm strongly opposed to them. But it's interesting to see a lot of the people that were in the truckers' convoy and were quote-unquote anti-vax for the last few years were labeled like misogynists and fucking racists. And you're seeing, obviously, the Indigenous community is part of that. So, like, is that now when Justin Trudeau and the Canadian government are saying it's a small fringe minority of, like, racist, misogynist, etc., whatever fucking terrible thing you want to say, or is he now grouping this Indigenous group into that as well? Kind of odd. And then there's this little thing at the bottom here saying trust building. Talking about how different groups were disproportionately impacted during the pandemic, and a couple of bullshit things like that. So, yeah, like I said, I'll link all these articles. I just want to kind of bring a few different things that are coming up this week to your attention to see what you think. I just kind of want to share these things because, I think between addiction, I think between the gaslighting that's been going on in the last couple of years in regards to vaccinations and COVID-19 bullshit, I think it's very easy to kind of feel, especially if you fall into that small fringe minority like I do, I think it's easy to kind of start to feel alone and kind of start to feel crazy with some of your ideas. And I just want to share these things and have you guys kind of look them up for yourselves and kind of have these topics at the front of people's minds, because I want you to understand that no matter what it is you're going through, and no matter how you feel, what your views are, or anything like that, you're not alone, and life can and will get better for you. And there's always going to be people that support you and love you unconditionally. And so, I don't know. Let me know if you guys want me to go in on a little bit more news stories and some of these things a little bit more. I've kind of tried to stay away from them as much as possible, especially when there's not too much going on right now. A lot of the things that are happening right now are happening behind the scenes. But let me know if that's something you're interested in hearing about a little bit more. I can dive into these things because Lord knows I got a lot of opinions. But let me know what you guys think. Other than that, wish me luck. I'm having surgery right now as you listen to this, if you're listening to the podcast when it drops. If you're watching the video, I'm already done, and go to my Instagram right now. If you search Risen Fallen on Instagram, you can see pictures of what my face looks like. It's probably fucked up. So thank you guys so much for listening to this or watching this. If this is the morning time for you, I hope you have a good day. If it's the afternoon, I hope you're having a good day. And if it's the evening time, I hope you had a good day. Other than that, much love. Peace out, motherfuckers. Love you all.